Hey, Sergey. So I just wanted to talk to you about the two things that I saw today at the meeting, or that I noticed this morning. It's they're actually, I think, super minor, but I also wanted to go into the topic of accessibility, and I'll segue into that after I describe the issue, which is so. Let's go to. How did I lose that? Oh, here we go. Um, so basically, what I was pointing out was that there should be a parentheses after company and star, that it should be parentheses, enter company name, and then end parentheses. And at first, it doesn't seem to really make sense, but it actually does if you think about it in colorblindness terms. So if you're colorblind, I have this really cool tool called Sim Daltonism, and it's a free app on I guess Apple apps. If you just go in for Sim Daltonism, I'm gonna SIMDLDALTONISM. So color blindness affects about 10% of the population in general, and even though you could once think that it isn't, or that it's an edge case, but you can't really think about it that way because you have to think about it in the larger context of accessibility itself. And there's a sweet website. Oops. And I'll give you the resources, but it's through basically Google Accessibility. And if you go there, there's a cool course about web accessibility for developers, and also there's a text version of that as well. But back to what I was talking about. Yes. So if you put on a filter of someone who is colorblind, so deuteranopia, so that's the red-green color blindness. This is the most common type, which is why this is number one. If you put that filter on, you can kind of see through the lens of someone who is colorblind in that way. And you can see that there's not much difference between what's gray and what's red. And it's super hard to tell, right? So if I take this out, we can see it, but someone else cannot. So what that means is all of a sudden there's no distinguishment between something that has something in the text field versus something that doesn't. And I think that that difference is really important because someone, again, not just colorblind, but if someone is going through this really quickly, then they won't be able to, maybe they won't be able to even understand the difference between this and this, right? You have to explicitly tell someone because they're just like, I'm not thinking, what's the difference, right? It may seem really simple, but for someone who's just trying to complete a task really quickly, it may not be. So if we write what actually we're asking for, then it's just completely upfront and somebody's going to type something, right? Because the issue here is that if you don't have a mandatory field, it's not going to go into Salesforce. So it's quite important that we actually do write something whenever it is read and that the field is empty. So what that means here, I just kind of, oops. So for company, what we should do is say company and enter company name. And same goes for here when there is nothing. So last name, in parentheses, you should say enter last name here. And that would create the difference between something that doesn't have anything in the field versus something that does. So in terms of the larger context of things, I went to this course, and this Udacity course, which I'm going to give you the link to, actually does a really good job at answering, this is where I was. Again, it's a free course. You can just enter your information. So the second video, if anything, just watch the second video, which I did. It explains how something that seems like it's like the idea you want that something to be accessible is at first you think it's just for people with disabilities, but really if you address accessibility, then it actually makes the product a lot easier for everybody to use. And it's not only about the fact that it's accessible, but really it makes a really good product. And what that means is, for me, it means professionality. So Google, Facebook, Microsoft, they have accessibility pretty much down in a lot of ways. And I think, but obviously that can be improved as well. But yeah, the idea that something is accessible actually it elevates the product and it makes it professional, and it elevates the brand. So that is my bit on accessibility. All right, thank you very much. Oh, one more thing, sorry. The other thing on the ticket was the alignment issue. And it's really not a big deal, but I'm just gonna show you. Let's see if I could create some sort of line here. Bear with me if you can. Yeah, so I'm just asking that the edge of these bars align with the edge of this, and that's just really, like, if you can put a line right here. So this edge right here should come to this edge, and that's, yeah, it's just alignment. Let's see. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks, Sergey.